Hello, parents and students of my Language Arts third grade class here at Thomas Edison Elementary School. This is Miss Kaylee, and tonight we are going to be going over Lesson 3 of homophones. So, in Lesson 1 and 2, we discussed the meaning of homophones, what homophones are, and we discussed the different pairs of homophones. So tonight we're going to be discussing the meaning of homophones and how they are used within sentences. So if you would like to go over lessons 1 and 2 again, you're able to do so. I uploaded these lessons on our student portal website, so please, parents and students, please feel free to go back and look at those lessons 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and look at our SOL for tonight. At the conclusion of this lesson, the student shall be able to decipher the meaning of a homophone as it relates to the context in which it is used in a sentence. So what does this mean? This means that you, the student, shall be able to understand the meaning of a homophone and as it relates to the context in a sentence. So you should be able to understand the meaning of a homophone by how it is used within a sentence. So let's get started. The supplies we're going to be needing for tonight's lesson is a pencil, paper, a dictionary if you would like to go back and reference words or spelling, access to a computer, and access to the internet. So let's go ahead and take a minute to discuss what we already know about homophones. As we previously discussed them in our lesson 1 and 2 in class, we already know that homophones have the same sounds. They are spelled differently and have different meanings. Homophones usually are in groups of 2, so pairs, or they can occasionally be in groups of 3. So over here I have my illustration of the word homophone. So if we take this word homophone, cut it in half here, we can see that homo means the same and phone is sound. So a homophone has the same sound. Homophones are words that have the same sound. And down here we have our pairs of homophones, a few of them. So we have right and right, see and see, hair and hair. Now we can see, although these words are pronounced exactly the same, these illustrations show us that they have very different meanings. And it is important that we understand that these words have different meanings and we know the different meanings so that we can use them correctly in sentences and identify the correct words for when constructing sentences. All right. So let's go ahead So let's look at our homophone pairs that I have up here for you. These homophone pairs are pairs that we're going to be using further in this lesson. I just want to go ahead and take a minute to look at the different homophones, their meanings, and the illustrations that go along with them that kind of represent their meanings. So we have ate, which is past tense of eat, A-T-E, and we have a boy here eating a hamburger, so he ate the hamburger. Here we have eight, E-I-G-H-T, which is representing the number 8. All right, 8 and 8. We see that they have the same pronunciation, 8 and 8, but very different meanings, okay? So let's see here. We have flour and flour. We know that flour is a grain that can be used for making bread and other things. And we also have flower, which is a plant, often brightly colored. And it can be grown outside or in pots. Down here we have blue and blue. Blue, which is past tense of blow, and we have a cloud here, and he blew the wind strong. And here we have blue, as in the color blue. So again, we see that all of these words have exactly the same sounds, but different meanings. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at the important details that we need to remember when using homophones in sentences. Now this is the main goal of our lesson here, is to understand how we use homophones in sentences and the meaning of homophones that are used within sentences. So let's go ahead and look. It is important that you understand the differences and meanings of each word in a homophone pair. So we need to understand that although we have two words, a homophone pair, so if we have 8 and 8, we know that they sound the same, but they're two different words. These two different words are separate and they have their own meaning, okay? So we want to remember that when we're constructing sentences. So we know and we're able to identify which word has the correct meaning for the sentence we are trying to construct, okay? We also want to remember that we use the words of a homophone pair correctly when constructing sentences. So again, back to my little drawing here. They're separate, they have their own meaning. So we want to make sure we know the correct meaning for each word so we can use them correctly, all right, when we're constructing our sentences. And then lastly, we want to remember to use the correct spelling. Spelling is really important when we're using homophones in our sentences, okay? Because if we spell a word wrong, it could change the meaning of a word. It could change the context of the sentence. So we want to make sure that we use the correct spelling when we're using homophone pairs. And any words for that matter. We want to make sure that we use the correct spelling so that we're constructing a well-written sentence. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at these homophones and sentences that I have here. These homophones we already looked at. We understand the meaning, and we still have our illustrations here. So I want to go ahead and identify the correct homophone word that goes with each of these sentences. So the first sentence says, I blank all of my dinner tonight. Did I A-T-E or E-I-G-H-T? Yes, that is right. I ate, past tense of eat, I ate all of my dinner tonight. And down here we have another sentence. I have blank toy trucks at home. Do I have the number 8? Yes, that's right. So I have E-I-G-H-T. I have 8, sorry about my writing here. I have 8 toy trucks at home. That is correct. All right, so let's look at another sentence. Actually, 2 sentences that I have here for you, but we're still looking at the same homophones that we previously went over, so we understand the meanings. So let's identify the correct homophone for each sentence. The first sentence says, I planted a blank in the garden today. I planted a flower, as in a grain that's used to make bread, maybe. Or I planted a flower, which is a plant that's beautiful in color and planted outside in gardens. Yes, that is right. I planted a flower. Correct. I planted a flower in the garden today. So let's look at our second sentence here. My mom uses blank when she makes cookies. Yes, that is right. So flour. My mom uses flour when she makes cookies. So she uses a grain that's used for baking. That is good. Let's move on. This is our next set of sentences that we have here. So again, we're going to look at our words, blue and blue, understand their meanings, and then we're going to identify the correct word for the sentence, for the context of the sentence. So the police officer blanked the whistle to stop the car. Did the police officer, past tense of blew the whistle? Or did he blew the color blue? Yes, he blew, B-L-E-W, past past tense of blew. So he blew the whistle to stop the car. And our sentence down here says, Miss Kaylee is wearing a blank shirt today. Is she wearing blue as the color blue? Yes, she is wearing a blue shirt today. All right, let's see what we have next here. So what we're going to do now is, it's a little bit more difficult, but I know you guys can do it. So previously we looked at sentences with the illustrations that depict the meaning of the word. But now what I want you guys to do is identify, again, the correct homophone word that goes with the correct context of the sentence, okay? So what does this word mean, and then how will it fit in these sentences? So let's look at the first sentence together. Now parents, please feel free to help and interact with your student with these activities if they do need help, okay? So my dad will blank home this evening. Will my dad be home, as in B-E, or will my dad be home, as in B-E-E? Right, my dad will be, as in B-E, be home tonight, be home this evening. All right? And down here we have the blank landed on the flower outside. Will it be B-E or B-E-E? Yes, correct. It will be B-E-E. The bee landed on the flower outside. All right, let's look at another set of homophones and see if we can identify the correct homophone word that goes with the correct context of the sentence, the correct sentence. So, I want blank kittens. Do I want four, F-O-R, or do I want F-O-U-R, four? Right, I want four, F-O-U-R. I want 4 kittens. And let's look at this sentence. This pencil is blank you. Right, this pencil is for you. This pencil is for you. All right, let's look at some more. Let's look at this set here. We have dear and dear. Dear and dear. So which homophone goes with which sentence? Let's find out. He is my blank friend. Is he my dear or dear? Right, he is my dear, D-E-A-R, my dear friend. And here we have the sentence, the blank was in my front yard last night. Is it dear or dear? Yes, it is deer, D-E-E-R, as in the animal, deer. The deer was in my front yard last night. That is great. You guys are doing a great job. So let's move on here. So now that we went over this entire lesson together, we are able to look at different sentences together and identify correct homophones that went with the correct context and meaning of the sentences. Now what I want you guys to do for your homework assignment is to go ahead and look at your Correct the Homophones worksheet. This worksheet I had put in your folder for you to take home earlier today. So you should have this worksheet, the Correct the Homophones worksheet, in your folder that you took home earlier with you today, okay? Now with this worksheet, what I want you guys to do is to read each sentence. There are 6 sentences on this worksheet. You're going to read each sentence. You're going to find the misused homophone, okay, in the sentence. So there's 6 sentences, and in each sentence, there is a homophone that's used incorrectly by its meaning, okay? And what you're going to do is once you find the misused homophone, you're going to rewrite each sentence using the correct homophone. So you're going to find the incorrect homophone and rewrite the whole sentence using the correct homophone, okay? So that's what you're going to be doing tonight. So you should have 6 separate sentences, okay, friends? 6. And you're going to find the misused homophone, and you're going to rewrite the whole sentence using the correct homophone, what it should be. All right. So in case that you do not have your worksheet or you can't find it in your folder, I have put the questions here, the 6 questions, or I'm sorry, the 6 sentences that you are going to be looking at, and you're going to identify the wrong homophone in the sentence. Okay, remember, it's an incorrect homophone, and you're going to correct it by rewriting the sentence and putting the correct homophone and replacing it, okay? You're going to replace the wrong homophone with the correct homophone. Now, when you come in tomorrow, I hope that we can sit down and look over these sentences together and review, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow and going over our next lesson. So, have a good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me.